7:14 on a Monday. Mike is here to talk a little vehicle maintenance from Mmmm Mechanic. Howdy.
Good morning, Dale.
Hello, hello.
How's it going today?
Really good.
Did you watch the eclipse last night?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, we did too.
Yep. Interesting.
That was neat.
Yeah, it was.
I got my spotting scope out, and we were looking at it. It goes up to 45 power, which makes a big difference in what you can see.
Mm-hmm.
So we're trying to hold the spotting scope, or I'm holding it while my wife's trying to take a picture through it with her telephone. We're going to be getting a divorce now, probably. No, she got some pretty good pictures.
I can see that before the judge.
The eclipse caused it.
Oh, boy. Never know what you hear on this talk show, will you?
On that bombshell. Oh, we did fine.
Yeah, it was interesting to watch.
It was. Mm-hmm. It sure was. I don't know that they called it the blood moon, and then of course you could see why once it got going there.
I got the binoculars out, and they're pretty decent. I mean, there's some vintage Bushnell style, really good binoculars, and you could see some details.
Yep.
It was interesting.
Yep. I guess they won't do another one of these now for 20 years or 18 years or something like that. Yep.
18 years.
2033. Yep.
Wow. Unbelievable. But we got a couple questions. Will I answer questions?
Sure.
I changed the battery on my '06 Honda, and now the radio doesn't work. What's up? Ooh. Anti-theft.
Yeah. Somebody's anti-theft got activated. A lot of these vehicles, I should almost say all the vehicles anymore, have got an anti-theft system built into the radio. And somewhere in the paperwork on that car, in the owner's manual, somewhere there will be a code written down. And, sometimes it's a 3-digit, sometimes it's a 4-digit code, and you can enter that into your radio and unlock it. I know that some of the General Motors will even say whenever you've changed a battery, it'll have theft lock on the viewport on the radio. And,
I know the code on General Motors. It's not another recall.
Wow. Send hate mail. All the Chevrolet guys, send your hate mail to Dale.
I've been getting it for years.
But that's what it is. It's pretty simple stuff. There's and most likely the person there they can go in and find that number in the paperwork, or you can go online and figure out. There's probably somebody on there that's telling you how to reset that
code.
And then you can change it you can personalize the code.
Really?
You can change that. Yeah, absolutely you can. And you can change it to whatever number means something to you. And yeah, not a big deal.
Interesting. My car is 5 years old, and with winter coming, what should I do?
Well,
I'd let the air out of the tires.
The first thing I would do on a 5-year-old vehicle like that is have my battery checked.
Yeah, especially if it's original.
If it's the battery that came in it, you start to get on thin ice when you get batteries that's 5 years, well, actually more than about 3.5 or 4 years sometimes. So you're on thin ice with a battery that's 5 years old. So we need to check that and see where it's at. And batteries are one of those things that they've gotten fairly expensive and stayed there. Yeah,
wow.
I know.
Wow.
But boy, I tell you something too. With batteries, you will get what you pay for most generally.
For that kind of money.
Yeah, we sell Interstates, and knock on wood, man, I still back them up as the best battery out there, and we've had excellent luck with them.
I'll tell you, another good car battery is AC Delco.
Sure. Yep, they work great.
Yeah, they've got a good long life to them.
Batteries are like a lot of things; they've improved over the years. It wasn't all that many years ago that 2 or 3 year old battery, you never knew what you was going to get. Now they've got them better. We've seen factory batteries coming in sometimes that are 10 years old.
Really?
Yeah. Not very often. A couple here and there, but we've seen a few that's 10 years old. And
that's impressive.
That would be one of the first things I'd do would be get my battery checked and I see what kind of shape it's in.
Wouldn't you just go ahead and change it after 5 years?
Well, some people do, some people don't. We do have some individuals that come in up at the shop and they change them on a time basis. If that battery is 4 years or older, they'll replace it. Some people wait till it gives them problems. So, it varies by individual.
Well, if we do a lot of traveling like I do, planning 2 more trips in October, I don't want any issues.
Right.
And if I know that battery's 4, 5, 6 years old.
Yep. You don't want to have a problem out on the side of an interstate somewhere in Timbuktu on a Sunday afternoon, have a dead battery. Nobody wants to do that. So, in your case, you may want to change that thing on a timely basis. And people that basically stay local and all that stuff, a lot of them, they'll run them till they give issues.
Yeah.
The next thing I'd do is antifreeze.
Big time.
Yep. So many of the cars now come with extended life antifreeze. General Motors calls it Dex Cool. Everybody else has their name for it. And most of them anymore are recommending somewhere around a 5-year change on antifreeze. So if it's been 5 years, you've had that car and you've not changed it, yeah, let's get that antifreeze out, get new stuff in. And we do that all the time up there. So it's going to get busy here pretty quick with the antifreeze stuff. Antifreeze that's old and that's neglected and let's stay in a cooling system causes issues. It's like every other lubricant or liquid that's in your car. It's got an additive package in it and it breaks down. And a big part of it is when it gets older, it lets corrosion start. And that's something with all the aluminum that we have in these modern engines, radiators, everything else. We don't really need any corrosion going on. Yeah. It'll cause a buildup in the radiator and other places. And that's where we see a lot of stopped up heater cores. Over the next 6 to 8 weeks, we will probably unstop a bunch of heater cores. Not always, but typically you see that on vehicles maybe that's had the cooling system might have been neglected, where they've let antifreeze run a long time, or they've maybe put water in it and then put just a little bit of antifreeze and it gets rust and all that stuff going. And then the heater core plugs up, and we got to unhook it and flush it out, and so they get their heaters up and going. So antifreeze that's left in there way too long and stuff causes issues, and some of them are expensive issues. If they,
Yeah, you start getting into water pumps and radiators, and you start getting that radiator clogged up.
Yes, and old antifreeze acquires a certain acidic value to it, So it starts to work on things. It works on gaskets and aluminum and whatever. So, yeah, it's best not to do that, not to let that stuff lay in there too long. Change it at least as often as the manufacturer recommends. I think General Motors is still like a 5-year, 100,000-mile change, something along those lines. I imagine most everybody else is going to be something similar. And so that would be my first 2 things I would do is get the battery check, get the antifreeze check, and then have somebody look at my tires. What shapes my tread in?
Yeah.
With possible, who knows if it's going to snow or whatever this winter, you'll need some decent tires to get around. And you get those 3 things taken care of, and you're off to a pretty decent start and getting ready for old man winter.
One thing I throw in there is the serpentine belt and the tensioner.
Absolutely. In another month, no, it's going to be longer. Another 6 weeks, we go back to the daylight savings time or standard time. It's like the second week of November where it's going to be dark all the time.
You keep talking and I'll Google it real
quick.
Yeah.
Well, when that happens, of course, we're running our headlights, all the lights on the car, much more. And, these cold starts in the morning will make your battery work harder. So you've got a good point there, Dale.
November 1st.
November 1st, so about another 4 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, it's close.
That's a month and 3 days out.
Yep. So having a good serpentine belt with a good tensioner, because that alternator works hard on them cold mornings when it first starts. It's working very hard. So that's a good idea. Good belt with a good tensioner on it could avoid some problems too. Yeah, good idea.
Can you imagine going back to standard time on November 1st?
Man, I go to work in the dark and I get home in the dark.
I know.
But, it's just the way things go. They're not going to change it for me.
Well, and I like daylight savings time.
I do. I like more daylight.
Yeah.
I like to be getting home at night and have 2 or 3 hours of daylight where you can get out and do things.
But, it's a nice break where you don't have to mow and all this stuff.
True.
But it's always good to go to the
Well, we've had a good summer, though, haven't we?
We have, yeah.
We've had, this has been another one of those summers where we've had hot days, but we've not had a hot summer.
Yeah.
And
I don't think we ever broke 100 degrees this year, have we?
I don't
I
think
think
so.
it got to 97, 98.
Yeah,
But
I don't think we ever did. And we mowed all summer, you know, that's rare.
It is. I mean, with all that rain we had in the spring, you know, I was still slinging wet grass.
But wasn't it, and I'm
July.
trying to remember and I forget things bad, but it seems like up into June,
Yeah.
you were going, is it ever going to quit raining?
Uh-huh.
It seemed like all the way up
Yeah.
into June. So we had a good summer of it. You know, we had some rain that showed up here and there. I think it's an excellent summer. You know, you remember some of these summers we've had where you drive around and we go motorcycle riding and you can look out on these ridges and stuff and you'll see trees that are dead because it's so hot, so dry.
Yeah. I did it along I-40 one time. I forget what year it was. But at one point, they were like 115 degrees between Conway and Little Rock. Literally, you know. And the trees all along I-40 were just brown.
Yep.
And that's the reflective heat off that concrete, off that highway.
We've had a very good summer.
Yeah.
I'm happy with it. And that's my answer to those. The battery, antifreeze, let's check your tires, and let's look at the belt and tensioner. That's a good one. And then on the Honda, do a little bit of research. I'll bet you somewhere in that owner's manual, somewhere in your paperwork is a code
type
that you'll need to
Turn the
enter into
radio
that radio, and you can go back to listening to Dale every morning.
Oh, boy. What a thrill. All major brands of motor oils.
Yeah, man, we loaded up this week. Pennzoil was there Monday and filled everything back up, and then we got in a bunch of Mobile One and
I wanted to ask you, how's Pennzoil's synthetic?
good stuff. It really is. Pennzoil synthetic oil, in all seriousness, is top-notch stuff. The way they're making it now, you know, it's one of those things. It seems like with Amsoil and Mobile One and Royal Purple, some of these big names in the synthetic business, it's hard to get your nose into the business. It's hard to get noticed. And Pennzoil has got a very, very high quality synthetic product right now. Yeah, I think it's great. We keep it, we stock it, we use it on a lot of different vehicles.
Really?
Yep. And
I got to wonder about that the other day. I thought, I wonder how Pennzoil's doing with their synthetic.
it's good. It's a good oil. But I think, you know, and I'm not knocking anybody's or don't want to brag on Pennzoil too much. I think almost all these manufacturers are putting out a good product on their oil. And we keep a semi-synthetic Pennzoil, and that's for the ones with the Dexos, the GM cars, like a 2012 and up that have requirements for Dexos.
Yeah.
We've got that covered on a couple of different ways. We got it covered with Pennzoil, and then we also have it covered with Mobile One.
Yeah.
Mobile One, right on the front of their jugs now, has a Dexos-approved emblem.
Good.
So there's more and more of that available. You know, like we talked about some time back when we discussed this changeover that GM did to Dexos. You know, they require some licensing before you can put their emblem on your container. And that doesn't mean that, I'm going to throw a name out there, let's just use it for an example. That doesn't mean that Valvoline doesn't meet Dexos requirements. It means Valvoline's not paid for the licensing, so they can put that emblem on their container.
It's all about the money.
Yeah, you know, it is. There's a lot of
money.
it. But we keep Dexos oil in a couple, 3 different flavors up there. And we've got a lot of the zero weight oils now. So we've got that covered with, you know, the new Chevy Silverado pickups that started, I think, in 2014, take a 020.
Wow.
Yep. So we got that covered.
Wow.
Honda, Toyota, now Mazda is into 020 oils. We're seeing some 040s in the European cars.
Wow.
Yep. Mercedes.
I never thought I'd see zero. I thought 20W20 was, my goodness.
You thought that was too thin, didn't you?
Let alone those old water bottles of Havlin.
Yeah, I remember that.
Final 30 seconds. Final thought.
Give us a call this week. We got some time, and we'll be glad to get you in. And you know, again, here we go with this stuff. We're going to blink our eyes. We're going to be staring Thanksgiving right in the eye.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
I mean, Christmas now is what, 88, 87 days away?
Yeah, so
can't believe it.
You know, whenever people are ready to start getting their cars prepared to go see Grandma on Thanksgiving, give us a shout. We'll be ready for you. Be glad to take care of it.
Minute Mechanics located Highway 201 North across from Salvation Army. You can call them at 425-3135. No holidays this week, so you got to work 5 full days.
Thank you, Dale.
They'll be there 8 to 5 Monday.
All you Chevrolet guys, give me a ring. I'll help you out now.
Yeah, they do recalls. No, they don't. Go see your dealer. Brings us up to news time. We'll be right back.